This is the Yacht Lounge podcast. Welcome aboard.
You know, there is a deep, sort of fundamental paradox right at the very heart of ultimate luxury.
It's an origin story almost nobody expects. The man who set the global benchmark for elite quality, the standard that still defines mechanical aspiration, he started his working life selling newspapers on a street corner.
So today, we are diving deep into the improbable journey of Henry Royce, a working-class engineer, a mechanic, an uncompromising outsider, and just the absolute genius who built the foundation for Rolls-Royce.
Right. And our mission isn't just to tell his story, it's really to excavate the single most important principle of his entire life. We're unpacking the origin and the profound meaning of the maxim that still defines that legendary brand, a phrase beloved by sovereigns, stars, and the extremely wealthy.
We are investigating the true meaning of the price is forgotten, quality remains. And I think this is the crucial part, why it took a man who grew up in absolute poverty to invent a concept of quality that really transcends money.
Okay, let's unpack this very unusual connection between struggle and ultimate perfection.
Let's start with the scarcity, because you just never guess the source of this legendary obsession with engineering reliability.
Well, Royce was the youngest of 5 brothers, born in rural England in the mid-19th century. He was, by every single definition, an outsider. He was forced to leave school incredibly early at just 9 years old because his family's finances completely collapsed.
9 years old?
Yeah.
That means his entire perspective on economics, on value, on workmanship was just forged in this fire of necessity. He saw life only from the perspective of those who, fight and claw for every single achievement.
Absolutely. His adolescence was just an endless, grueling list of odd jobs just to keep food on the table. He was a newsboy, of course, but he was also delivering bread, rushing telegrams across town. Anything that required relentless physical effort and reliability.
And isn't it strange? That's really where the foundation of the price is forgotten is laid. Because when you fight that hard for every penny, you understand exactly how devastating it is when something breaks, when something is unreliable. That sense of wasted effort, it drives a hatred of poor quality.
It creates a personal, almost emotional investment in durability. But beneath all that hard labor, there was something else driving him, this burning passion for mechanics. He got a crucial apprenticeship at the Great Northern Railway Works, and even when he couldn't afford the tuition, he taught himself advanced math and electrical engineering just by studying at night.
And that's the real lesson, isn't it? Ambition is one thing, but dedication is what buys the expertise. So
yeah.
How did that laboring background translate into manufacturing instead of just repair work? That's a huge conceptual jump. It requires risk and capital.
It required capital, however tiny. By the time he was 21, he had managed to scrape together his own life savings. And the sources note the precise amount, £20 sterling.
20 pounds. That is an incredibly humble foundation for a company that would eventually become synonymous with billion-dollar net worths.
With that small sum, in 1884, he partnered with his friend Ernest Claremont to form F.H. Royce & Co. in Manchester. They were focused initially on manufacturing electrical components, doorbells, light fittings, and then eventually dynamos and cranes.
We tend to overlook this electrical phase, but I think it's critical. What did manufacturing precision dynamos teach him that was so applicable to cars?
Everything. Absolutely everything. Building reliable electrical machinery requires unbelievable precision winding, flawless heat management, and, the construction of components that have to withstand constant vibration and heavy loads without fail. If a dynamo breaks, the factory stops. So Royce built machinery that just could not fail. He carried that uncompromising attitude directly over to the engine.
So his quality wasn't about aesthetics or luxury first. It was about fundamental industrial necessary reliability.
Exactly. True quality is often forged in the fires of necessity and meticulous labor, not simply the ease of inherited wealth. That level of self-reliance and attention to detail, that's the core of Henry Royce.
But the shift from, light bulbs and industrial appliances to defining automotive luxury, that needed an explosive catalyst. Something had to turn that industrial precision into a personal obsession.
And that catalyst, as you said, was anger. Just pure, unadulterated frustration with mediocrity.
Okay, tell us the full story of the car. Because the car he bought, it wasn't some cheap machine, was it?
No, not at all. It was a French import, a 10 HP, 2-cylinder de Courville. It's often mistakenly attributed to Didion, but the frustration was the same. Royce had finally achieved enough financial success to afford a significant personal expense, a major marker of status and modernity.
Right.
And the thing It just failed constantly.
The ultimate irony. The man who valued efficiency and reliability above all else buys a product that epitomizes the complete opposite. What was the failure like?
Well, it was noise, smoke, chronic unreliability. The engine vibrated excessively, the controls were clumsy, and the breakdowns were frequent enough to interrupt his life and his work. It proved to be a complete waste of his hard-earned money.
And he didn't just take it to a mechanic or try to sell it off.
No. His reaction was famously furious, but also intensely constructive. He apparently huffed and just decided, better to make one myself. This wasn't just a technical decision, it was personal defiance against a system that tolerated shoddy engineering.
I find that so relatable.
Yeah.
The man who would invent ultimate perfection started because he was just absolutely mad at a broken machine. His first car was born entirely out of that spirit of, well, revenge against poor workmanship.
It was designed in his free time, late at night, in those small hours between a tool and a nocturnal vision. This was not corporate R&D. This was an intensely personal project of betterment. He disassembled the French car, identified every single flaw, and then just designed a better component for every single part.
That speaks volumes about his character, doesn't it? Royce was a perfectionist to the point of obsession. He supervised every single detail of the build process, every screw, every bolt, every wire winding. He couldn't delegate trust because he knew no one else shared his sort of moral commitment to the work.
The sources all confirm this. He was physically intense in his supervision. Even when crippling health issues forced him to retreat from the factory floor, his brain never stopped. He spent years dictating improvements and revisions from his remote country home. His standard for quality was just relentless.
And we see the ultimate concrete evidence of this relentless standard in the famous Silver Ghost car. That machine isn't just legendary, it fundamentally reset the entire industry's definition of what was possible.
It did. To really understand the genius, you have to understand the context of the trials. In 1907, they subjected the Silver Ghost to the famous 15,000-mile reliability run.
15,000 miles. Today, that's a maintenance check. In 1907, that was an unprecedented, brutal endurance test across varying terrain and on roads that, well, barely qualified as roads.
The competition would break down, sometimes within just hundreds of miles. The press expected this machine, like all the others, to fail. But the Silver Ghost completed the entire 15,000-mile distance, almost nonstop, requiring only one single replacement part.
And that part was?
A small problem with a valve. That was it. The car essentially ran flawlessly for months. That achievement immediately solidified the brand's reputation. This wasn't just luxury, this was engineering wizardry. It proved that, a flaw can be forgiven only when it's practically non-existent.
Okay, so this is where the story gets really fascinating, because the engineering genius of Henry Royce needed the marketing and social connections of Charles Rolls to create the enduring myth.
The initial meeting between the two men, it truly sounds like something worthy of an Edwardian-era comedy of manner.
Right. So on one side, you have Henry Royce, the intense working-class perfectionist, probably covered in grease, fueled by mechanics and dedication.
And on the other, in walks Charles Rolls, a charismatic, public school-educated aristocrat, a pioneer aviator, and a passionate motor enthusiast who understood engines, but also understood the language of high society. They meet in Manchester.
And Royce shows him his meticulously crafted machine, this two-cylinder car born of frustration and pure engineering.
Rolls takes one ride, and that was all it took. He immediately falls in love with the machine's smoothness and its silence. He saw beyond the grease and the workshop. He saw the potential for the ultimate status symbol. He demanded, "I want all the cars you can build."
The quality just spoke for itself. It transcended the class divide between the two of them.
But Rolls had one critical condition for the commercial collaboration, and this brings us right back to branding. The cars had to be called Rolls-Royce.
Because, as Rolls is reported to have said, the double-barreled name sounds more chic. It conveys high society and high price, right from the very first syllable.
Precisely. And this is where the myth truly begins. You have the unflinching, almost brutal substance provided by Royce, and the elegant, aspirational marketing provided by Rolls.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it's like a name can grant entry to high society, but only genuine quality guarantees a legacy that lasts for generations.
That's the essence. And that brings us all the way back to the famous philosophy itself. The price is forgotten, quality remains.
Today, that quote is thrown around by every luxury brand, isn't it? It sounds like something a modern marketing guru would invent, stressing exclusivity. But the sources show that for Royce, it was never, ever about snobbery.
No, not at all. Royce was never just interested in the high price itself. He was interested in achieving a quality that could survive time, physical stress, and the oblivion of price, because the price reflected the enormous, uncompromising effort required to build something that wouldn't fail.
It's so easy to dismiss that phrase as just marketing, but we need to stress that its origin wasn't in a boardroom.
It was born from exhaustion, from relentless dedication, and fundamentally from the desire to get revenge on that old, broken Decauville that made him so furiously disappointed. The mantra isn't about selling expensive cars. It's about avoiding that feeling of being let down.
What's fascinating to me here is how Royce subtly dismantled the prevailing concept that a high price automatically equals snobbery.
Right. He argued that the price is a necessary reflection of the commitment required to achieve mechanical perfection. It's the cost of the Silver Ghost's 15,000 flawless miles. The price is merely the fee you pay to avoid constant frustration and breakdown.
He transformed quality into heritage. The car didn't just last a few years. It became something passed down, something that commanded respect decades later.
Yeah.
It outlived the immediate financial transaction.
So the price is merely a detail. The quality remains, transforming itself into heritage and enduring value. That is the ultimate profound meaning of that quote, and it's a philosophy that was forged in poverty.
So what does this all mean for us? The learner who became the master engineer, the man who started delivering bread. He ended up establishing an unmatched standard of engineering, driven not by profit first, but by pure, unyielding frustration and dedication.
It encourages you to consider the true source of your own motivations for quality in whatever you're building. Was Royce's drive personal revenge against a shoddy machine, or was it a deeper, more profound quest for enduring, applicable value that just transcended a simple transaction?
And that relentless pursuit of mechanical perfection by an outsider, a boy who only knew hard labor, established the benchmark for aspiration across the entire globe, proving that true value always outlasts the temporary cost.
Join us on Substack, where Yacht Lounge continues.